Hello and welcome to Drummers Review. I'm Nolly and today we're looking at a Guru Tour Series Black Walnut shell pack. For those of you that haven't come across them before, Guru Drums is a very high-end bespoke drum builder based in the UK, and the Tour Series is an attempt at a more affordable drum kit where the saving is made through the use of more conventional shell hardware in place of the no expense spared bespoke built aluminium hardware you find on the more expensive drums. In addition to saving some cost, the Tour Series is designed to have a slightly different tonal character with a very full note yet a shorter sustain that's going to work very nicely under close mics in either a live or studio situation. This particular shell pack features a 20 by 14 bass drum, a 10 by 8 inch rack tom, and a 14 by 14 inch floor tom, and as a set comes in at £2,845. Not included in this review is the Tour Series 13 by 5.5 inch snare that we're going to review separately, so keep an eye out for that video. With all of that out of the way, let's take a further listen and come back for some more discussion afterwards. Guru drums always make a hell of a first impression, and this drum kit is no exception. The beautiful walnut timber finished in a satin shellac finish looks incredible, and it's very evident that there is incredible attention to detail put on every aspect of this build. With the conventional shell hardware used on these drums, they come in a little bit heavier than the Origin series drums that we've reviewed in the past, but they're still by no means heavy drums. This shell pack was given to us with a clear G2 over G1 complement on the toms, while the bass drum has an EMAD on the batter side and an EQ3 unported on the resonant side. The bass drum was a real joy to play. It's probably got a little bit more attack and presence than most people would be used to from an unported bass drum, yet at the same time you do get that nice bit of resonance and bloom there that makes it very satisfying to lay into. While it is only a 20-inch diameter, there's still a ton of body there, and under the microphone there was no lack of low end at all. The rack tom was equally pleasing too. Not only did it have a load of note to it even when struck very softly, yet it also didn't seem to choke out dynamically as you hit it harder and harder. If anything, it just got more satisfying to play. Tuned this way, the rack tom had very little in the way of overtones, which to me is a very pleasing sound. Just a ton of fundamental note there. And talking to Guru, it does seem to be something which is very specifically engineered into these drums through the use of different bearing edges on the batter and resonance side, specifically the use of their tympanic bearing edge on the resonance side, giving a very long sustain to the bottom head, while the top head is kept relatively muted. The floor tom rounds out the set beautifully with a wonderful full tone that just doesn't hang around too long. And to me, that's a great positive because you can play quite busy parts and it just doesn't muddy things up too much. Similarly to the rack tom, it's got a ton of attack and responds great at all dynamic levels too. In terms of the kinds of styles and situations that this kit could be usable for, I think it would be particularly good in the studio. That tone is very nice and clear, and the shorter sustain yet full note translates wonderfully under the microphone. It would also be a really good kit to use in live situations where everything is close mic'd. It would also really come into its own if you were to perhaps use it for jazz or softer acoustic style gigs, where you'd get so much tone out of those drums even at the soft dynamic level, it could be really enjoyable. While it is labelled as a touring kit, I think it would take a particularly brave soul to use this extensively on the road, just because it is so beautiful. That wood finish is probably going to damage quite easily if it gets knocked too much. And furthermore, it is still quite an expensive kit, so you probably don't want to be risking it out every night of the week. As we've alluded to, the build quality with this kit is exemplary. You can look at it from pretty much any angle, go right inside the shells and look from as close as you like, and everything is just absolutely pristine on every level. I think even if you know nothing about Guru drums, it'd be fairly obvious that a lot of man-hours, skill and attention to detail has been put into the production of these shells. It's also worth noting that these drums tune up incredibly easily, which is a testament to just how round these shells are made and the quality of the bearing edges too. These Tour Series shells are built very thin using a solid segmented shell construction, completely different to your average ply design, which allows you to have very thin shells that resonate very nicely. In particular, black walnut has been used on these drums as gurus say it delivers a minimal amount of overtone and a short sustain. One of the neat touches about buying drums from a small builder like Guru is you can have a very personal connection to the people that build your drums. In this case, if you were to get in touch with them, they could point you at exactly the drums you need and the sizes you need to accomplish the goals that you have. And that customer service is going to extend way past the point of sale as well. Given the amount of workmanship and time that's gone into building these shells, I do think that price is justified. It is of course a lot of money to spend on 3 shells, but for anyone that's looking to get into Guru drums, this is going to be a good place to start before you go into the ultra expensive territory. It's worth mentioning another time that the only compromise that's going on here is simply in terms of the shell hardware. In fact, if anything, these Tour Series shells are more time consuming to build than the more expensive Guru drums. For me, the best thing about these drums is just how good they sound, as well as the amazing build quality. While of course on the other hand, it still is a lot of money to spend on drums. But why don't you let us know what you think? Leave us a comment, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time at Drummers Review.